What's up, guys? It's the Farooqi Brothers, and we're back with another Built Different stream where we cover all the biggest news this week from pop culture and share our insights. So, pretty busy show today because we're going to be jumping from universe to universe, Marvel to DC, and we're going to cover some of the biggest news and some controversies from this past week. So, let's just get right into it. I actually want to start on the Marvel side of things, because I want to start with this news that came out of the Hollywood Reporter on Friday that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is undergoing significant reshoots. Basically, it's 6 weeks of reshoots where they're working 6 days a week. So it's quite significant. Now, sources from the Marvel side of things have said that, hey, it's just because of COVID, just because we've been trying to, delay from the pandemic, we're trying to finish some stuff up. But a lot of people on the insiders are saying that no, they're actually retooling significant portions of the movie, which recently screened to some people at Disney. Surprisingly, it did not do that well, which is interesting considering a lot of us were excited for Sam Raimi coming on board. Well, that doesn't mean just because the executives didn't see it was good doesn't mean that Sam Raimi delivered necessarily a bad product. All that being said, Raimi is the one directing the reshoots, so it's not like it's another director being brought on. He is the person handling it, but I still thought it's interesting considering how much retooling is going on in this movie, which is pretty rare for a Marvel movie to do. So, Zion, I'll start with you on this one. What did you think about this news that this reshoots, and does this make you more worried about this movie?
It definitely makes me more worried. I know a lot of people are saying that with Sam Raimi, he's done a lot of horror elements as well, a lot of horror movies, so he's bringing some of that into this multiverse of madness. So clearly, like going in, you think, okay, this is going to be a little darker in tone, it's going to be a little darker thematically, but we know how Raimi does it. He, with the Spider-Man movies, he finds a good balance as well between the light and the dark side, like of thematic storytelling. So maybe he pushed too far into the dark of this movie, and even still, like even if you step away from this movie, you look at Eternals and think that, okay, this is the first time Marvel got a rotten movie or a critically bad movie. So now they're being a little more careful with the future projects that are going to come out. They're like, okay, we're going to look at this with a microscopic lens and see that, okay, we cannot repeat what happened with Eternals. So now looking at Doctor Strange and saying, okay, we want to make sure this does not fall into those same faults or whatever the case might be that made Eternals get a low score critically. And all of that, I think, plays into the factor that these are being reshot. I think, personally, obviously, when you hear reshoot, especially when it's so significant, there is a level of worry you have to have that, okay, how much they're deviating from, what is the story or how Sam Raimi wants to tell it or what story he is telling. And that kind of fear comes in. You think that, okay, is it going to turn out to be a Frankenstein product at the end? And really just, wait and see. I know a lot of times when they ask the directors, they're like, oh, yeah, it's what we wanted, but that's just like the politically correct answer for them to say, because obviously that's their employer. They can't really say anything against them before the movie comes out. And they want the movie to do well financially in box office as well. So they say, yeah, it's their product, is what they wanted. But really, who knows what's going on behind the scenes? And that does bring a lot of cost concern.
Obviously, Umar, on the DC side of things, it's not very much of a surprise to see significant reshoots. Obviously, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey to some degree all went through multiple reshoots before seeing a final product. Now, it's obviously worth saying that not every movie that goes through reshoots is necessarily changing. We know the Batman, for example, went through pretty big reshoots as well. And from what we've seen from the second trailer, everything seems very much tonally the same to trailer one. So, when you look at this movie, I mean, does your hype levels change up or down either way? Because I know you're obviously one of the biggest fans of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. I mean, so am I, of course. But do you feel like his vision as a director is being diminished because of these reshoots?
I think only time will tell. I'm with Zion. I think that obviously, like with reshoots, on the DC side, it's almost like trauma. You're like, you start thinking like they're going to change up everything, but I don't think we actually have a reason to believe that for this side of the table, for the Marvel side of the table, for the simple fact that they do the same flavor in terms of like they keep the MCU kind of like within a certain lens that they've been doing. as like everyone's Wi-Fi is being weird or something's happening. But um, I think there isn't a reason to really get too I would say to have a fear of like, oh, they might be changing everything up. I think it might just be the fact that it might just be the COVID factor that they're having a hard time maybe scheduling and all that stuff, because there's so many things that go into the reshoots. It's not just like I think Zack Snyder's um, experience with his reshoots and stuff, rather the reshoots that they did to his movie, has a lot of like the fans on the DC side, they get worried, and a lot of the fans that are fans of his work are also fans of Sam Raimi, so they try to make a connection. But I think that's dangerous, because I think that's like a different context that was placed there. Obviously, when there's reshoots being done, and there was, I believe, a test screening did happen. No, like they did a test screening, and then eventually, then that's when
I think the test screen is actually with Disney employees rather than audiences, but they tested within their executives and within wider Disney studios employees.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but yeah.
I also think the studio plays a huge part, because Warner Brothers, when we talk about Warner Brothers, like Warner Brothers is just suits and they don't actually know the material that well. While Disney employees and their execs probably do know the stuff. Like I'm guessing like they actually have some knowledge of what's going on. So I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's just like they're reshooting stuff.
It's interesting because actually our brother Rhymeson made a good point that actually I was going to make as well, because a lot of the multiverse stuff, I've heard that Marvel definitely wants to put their thumb on this movie overall, as we know that Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange movie, was actually more or less graciously fired from this movie from the beginning before Sam Raimi jumped in, because he wanted to go in a very horror approach, where Marvel wants to rather make this a very multiverse movie. In fact, it's supposed to be like people who think that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be big multiverse. Apparently, this is going to be just double, triple that in terms of who's going to be in it. And it's very much possible to try to add in people from the X-Men universe, people from the wider Marvel like palette of films, like Blade, or even some people even said Daredevil. Like who knows what they're trying to do? And I mean Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I don't mean even the one from the Netflix show. So all these different types of like concepts are being thrown around, and it's hard to tell which ones are real and which ones aren't. Obviously, they want to more or less what Marvel wants to do is they want to make it so that every single Marvel movie that ever came out is now canon because of what happens in Doctor Strange, which is not that different from what Flash was doing in terms of, hey, now everything is part of it. The Street movies are part of it, and Magneto movies are part of it. But of course, Marvel's doing it a little better, I think, as Fire Truck passes. But we got a comment. Yeah, said brother slideshow Samir is having his weekly internet issues. This is true. It's facts. How loud is this? Do you hear like very loud?
I can hear.
Okay.
It, yeah.
Do you think Shang-Chi will show up in Avengers 5? Yeah. Actually, Avengers is a very, very long time away, but clearly they're building up him specifically to be one of the main heroes.
They're doing a pretty good job, actually, of, as Shraz mutes his mic, they're doing a pretty good job of actually setting up the next Avengers movie, I think, because they are actually, like with Spider-Man, with Doctor Strange, I'm interested in seeing how they handle Black Panther. Obviously, I don't know why y'all are laughing every 2 seconds.
It's very loud.
Is it your building?
Outside. This is not my building, but it's outside on my street. Very loud, but
that's kind of wild. Yeah. But they're doing a good job of kind of set. They're doing a better job. This is a sad reality for DC fans. They're doing a better job of setting up Avengers 5, where there's like, they still got to set up like a lot of these characters, than DC's ever done, ever. And I'm gonna keep trying to talk so that,
I can try to talk over this, but it's
no, you can't.
I can't talk over this.
Ask Samir a question.
Samir, what do you think about this Doctor Strange news? Carry us.
There's like an insane fire truck outside the house. And so now
I barely heard what any of you guys said. I'm pretty sure you guys said everything, but I'm pretty worried about the reshoots. I think Sam Raimi might have went darker than Marvel wanted, and since Eternals did bad, like Ziad said, it's the only part I heard. I think they're worried. I think Marvel is definitely worried, and this was my most anticipated Marvel movie, so I hope the reshoots aren't that bad. We don't know that much about the movie really so far, but hopefully it's not that bad.
You trust Sam Raimi, Samir?
Of course. But do I trust Marvel executives?
It'll be interesting, but yeah, if this damn is for the sound, yeah, it was very loud. But okay, so I think that's good enough for Doctor Strange. Let's move from Marvel to the DC side, because Henry Cavill did an interview with the Hollywood Reporter this week. Pretty big interview. We talked about his whole career, but big portions of it also talked about Superman and his current status as Superman, or lack thereof. He had multiple points in his interview, but one of them, he said that there's a lot of storytelling for me to do. I would love the opportunity. He did his same old point about the cape is still in his closet, and then finally he made a point about how he's okay with a black Superman movie, etc. And his point was, why can't there be multiple? And he he brought up Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. He said, look how Joaquin Phoenix can coexist with Jared Leto and etc. So see multiple Jokers and he thinks multiple Supermen can also coexist. And then finally, he also talked about Man of Steel, where he said that there's a lot of opportunity to do a direct sequel to Man of Steel, which is funny because we talked about before how like he almost doesn't consider BVS to be like a sequel. He almost thinks that there should be another thing in between. I think that's what he's really been gunning for personally for a Superman solo. So it's going to be interesting to see like what he's going to do overall in his career. But I made this tweet personally where I said that, the cape could be in his closet for cameos, but let's be honest, he hasn't worn the costume in 5 years. And I know we saw him in Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, so it's like, oh, he was kind of just in the public eye, but he still hasn't been under contract for 5 years. He hasn't put on a costume in 5 years. So things have changed, at the studio. Does that mean he can't come back? He can come back in Black Adam. He can come back in The Flash. The chances of a Man of Steel 2 or a Superman solo, slim. So I don't know, Omar, do you agree with me?
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever. I actually think we're not gonna see him again ever.
Not even in cameo.
Yeah, I just think he has to. There's been this whole contract situation where people have heard about like the fact that he wants more than what they're offering and that whole thing. And I think Henry Cavill thinks he's like better than he actually is, and so that also plays a role in like him not being under contract for the past 5 years. When people have actually literally asked, like Superman trends, like people ask for him as Superman. They want a Superman solo film. But I think we're past. I think we're past it. I think that like the Batman's gonna come out, the Flash is gonna rewrite everything. I don't think there's a reason that I don't think they're really gonna look back. I think they're just gonna kind of move on. I just don't see unless like they want to use him with like Black Adam. I think that's like one place where you could kind of bring him back and like try to use that as a jumping off point. He does well in that, and then you can kind of like try to use that to give him his own thing. But I doubt it. I think
that like in terms of contract stuff, I think it's a better like chance at the table now of negotiation, because post Witcher, like that kind of brought its stock up, because obviously it was a very successful Netflix show, and then now it's been renewed for obviously season 2. So I think now that he has that big project where obviously he's helming it, he's the main centerpiece, he can bring that to the table. Like, look, now I have also more following outside of Superman as well, and this is what I've done. And now he's like, okay, this is the money I should deserve for the role of Superman or whatever. And I think now it actually like gives them more, I wouldn't say credibility, but like more like makes sense for Warner Bros. To be like, okay, yeah, we'll be willing to pay this much now because we've seen what else you've done. We've seen the type of actor you are in other projects as well. So it shows that the range he has and things like that. Because when he was obviously doing the Superman stuff, he didn't really have a lot where he's like the main character. He was like the man from U.N.C.L.E. and stuff like that, where he was like almost like a side piece or like a secondary character. He wasn't really like the main character. So now with Witcher, I think he could come back to the table with his agent, which was the Rock's agent as well. And the timing of it also is like a whole thing, because Black Adam's coming out next year. Like, could there be a cameo in that? We don't know. We'll see. I think the timing of it also plays well into, he's successful in Witcher and the Black Adam. The rumors around that. The Rock's agent is the same as his agent. So all of it come together. I think there's a small chance that you never know.
I was going to make the same point about the Rock's agent. His best chance is Black Adam, because The Rock and Henry are represented by the same people. And if anyone can make it happen, it's an A-lister like The Rock who can be like, "Hey, I want Henry Cavill in my movie XYZ." He actually he quote tweeted someone, a fan on Twitter, who posted a still of Black Adam and Superman meeting each other, and he was like, "Oh, I like it." And but he also said recently that they tested the first cut of Black Adam, and he himself said that it's good, but I'm not satisfied yet, which is very rare for an actor to say he's not happy with the movie this early. But that proves that maybe there's something more to add. And having Henry Cavill show up in Black Adam is literally 2-3 days of shoot. I mean, I don't think he's in it right now, but if they're going to add him via reshoots, maybe. I don't know. Also, The Flash is obviously another place you could put him in very easily. I wouldn't be surprised if there is something to do with Superman and The Flash, but also, Supergirl's in the movie. And then there is the Supergirl solo, which you never know. You can add Henry Cavill in that movie, but it's hard to tell. And I'm actually on the mindset with Umar that if I had to, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would say that he's not coming back for anything. But not a cameo, not a solo, but the solo for sure. I think it's out of the question. He's never getting a solo movie as Superman. That ship has sailed. But Samir, do you even want to see a solo movie with Henry Cavill? Is it even valid?
The thing about a solo movie is I don't even know where it would fit right now. I think you'd have to wait till after Flash to see what the universe is like, and then unless they're making a solo film like pre-Flash events, if the Flash is doing something big for the DCU, which I doubt they will, would make sense. I think we'd have to wait till after the Flash, but the best opportunity for him right now is just Black Adam, like you said, and I think him making Black Adam would be pretty sick.
Yeah. Did you mute Umar? Only I can hear him.
Yeah. What do you think about what Henry Cavill actually said about wanting something like a Man of Steel 2?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Wait, what did you say? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I said, what do you think about Henry Cavill's actual kind of what he wants to do, which is a Man of Steel 2, right after Man of Steel, before Batman v Superman. That's kind of what he wants as a solo.
Yeah, I think that would have been fine, but again, we don't know what the Flash is going to do for the DCU.
It would have been fine 5 years ago. Now it's too much time is passing.
Yeah, and does that storyline even count anymore? Because we don't.
It breaks straws a little hard, but it's okay.
No, but Samir made a good point, because after Flash, if you're rebooting everything, then you can soft reboot Henry Cavill, have a new Superman come out, give him the red trunks, give him whatever people want, and there you go. He's just Superman, and you just start a random adventure in Superman's life without going into what happened in the past or the future. They wouldn't mention that he died. They wouldn't mention that he fought Zod. It's just fight whoever the new villain is, whether it's Brainiac or whatever, and just try to do it and just bring him and Amy Adams back, and that's it. And everyone else's reboot. And I can't tell how else you can even do a Superman movie with him, especially because they're developing 2 Black Superman projects, one on HBO Max with Val Zod, and then one which I think, who knows what's on that one, the more official script from Ta-Nehisi Coates. So, and then we obviously know Superman is doing stuff on TV with Superman and Lois. So where's the room? Where would you put a Superman project with Henry Cavill? You put on HBO Max? I don't know. So it's hard to tell, and that's why I feel like chances are slim. Cameo, of course, there's possibilities, but overall, pretty slim. Let's move on from that and then jump into some Spider-Man stuff. So earlier in the week, there was a major Spider-Man leak, which to this day I cannot show on this thing because apparently even YouTubers are showing the picture are getting striked, so I'm not taking that risk. But controversy ensued last week, early this week, because 2 big images of Spider-Man dropped. One of the 3 Spider-Man, Andrew, Toby, Tom, all with their masks down, a confirmed real image, unfinished VFX, of course, but a real image of the 3 of them. Later on, I think, Umar, you shared this with me, there was a picture of Toby on green screen with a set, actually filming that exact same scene. Haircuts match, more credence that it was real. And then there was an image of Matt Murdock sitting with Spider-Man and Aunt May, and also pretty much confirmed real. And we can get into the minutia of how did it leak, why did it leak. I think that's not really our brand, but instead we could talk about some of the marketing of this movie, because it feels like the fans have most self-marketed this thing up to this point. Obviously, we know a second trailer is coming out this Tuesday, so I'm hoping at this point the cat's out of the bag, as they say. So if they don't show Toby and Andrew in this trailer, I think it's a misfire. So that's actually going to be my first question for Zion. Like, do you think that they should just show at this point, just show them in the trailer? Like we know what's going to happen now. Let's just get revved up for it.
Yeah, I think definitely. Like at this point, like if they don't show it, like this is the reason why YouTube's removing the dislike button. You know, that trailer's gonna get so many dislikes, and it's gonna be unreal because, as you know, obviously Marvel's very aware of the leaked photos that come out, and the fans have been clamoring for it over and over. They just want to see one official look, at least just one. I don't think they should show the money shot, which is obviously a big fear, but I think maybe just at the last second of the trailer, you show Andrew and Toby, or in whatever way. But as far as like the leaked images go, because like when we're showing obviously the one where Toby's on set, and then you have the one where they're all standing together, the fear is that, yeah, that's the same scene. So it's like, are they even in the movie aside from that scene? Like, do they just come in at the end and save the day? And if that's the case, then even in the trailer, you don't have that much footage to really show of them. That would be like a cool like footage, just like this is your first look at them. So it's like, you don't want to give away the money shot, but are there even any other enough good shots to show in the trailer aside from that? It's all a big mess.
And Samir, I appreciate you pointing this out to me on the side, but yes, I should have put a big spoiler warning for those of you who do not want to know about these leaks. Some from the dark, but yes, just again, we're talking big spoilers, potential big spoilers for No Way Home. So yeah, and obviously it goes through with a lot of the rumors that the final sequences in Statue of Liberty and what they're showing in like the pieces of footage where the scar that Tom Holland has in official Empire footage, where he's standing clearly on like Statue of Liberty, is exactly the same scar that's on the set of them on the boat and looking up. So clearly that you can piece together the entire set almost, like to the point where how the leaks have been going. But yeah, that's kind of situation right now with Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't have much more to say on this, and I don't even have another question, but I guess marketing could be something like, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't even think it's about the fact that if they're in it or not. Like, I think it's pretty confirmed that who's in it and who's not. I think it's more about, the conversation is now more about like, do we think they're gonna execute having this many pieces and everything in the right way? Because it's the same people that are making it. So I'm not really.
That is the fear. That literally is fear, because we've seen how Homecoming is all right, but overall we've seen how the movies are. Homecoming, Far From Home. So it's like, yeah, you have a lot going on for this one, but it's like Umar said, is a fear of, can they handle it right? We've seen how the director does things, and it's not really to the taste, like it's to our taste, but like when you're dealing with these other Spider-Man, like, are you going to represent them the right way, the way they should be? That's always a fear.
Speaking of how they're going to represent the characters, because that actually segues perfectly into the next topic I had, because Tom Holland recently interviewed just did say that Spider-Man No Way Home is dark and sad. I couldn't fit more in this, but he said a lot more about how they're going to break Spider-Man down, and they're going to put him through trauma, and it's going to be very and the Spider-Man specifically talking about is Tom's Spider-Man here. So Samir, I don't know if you agree with this both, but a lot of the people who criticize No Way Home and Far From Home is that this Spider-Man doesn't struggle the way the other two Spider-Man struggled, you know? So do you think that this is a good sign, like they're going in a good direction with this, with Tom's Spider-Man?
I do think it's a good sign, but I also hope it's not another, like, oh, he's struggling because he still wants to be like Tony, where they just keep pushing that, where he's trying to be like Iron Man, and all the villains are going to show me and be like, oh, I'm not Iron Man still, then it's just not going to be that good. But if the other two Spider-Man are showing up and they make it about being Spider-Man as a whole, and they make it dark and sad, then I think there's potential to be one of the best Spider-Man movies. But so far the marketing has been extremely bad. I don't even think we talked about the poster that they showed, which they waited like a million years to show. It was like a terrible poster, like terrible color grading, terrible like Photoshop. I don't know. So far it's been pretty bad. Hopefully this trailer will change stuff. Maybe they can do, you know, it's Disney. Maybe they can do the Rise of Skywalker thing where they just put Palpatine's laugh right at the end. Maybe they could put like a line or something from Toby or Andrew, but you never know.
what is it, like pizza time? What's the most iconic line they could possibly say? Pizza time. But
the poster's so bad. Like said, like they just photoshopped this Spider-Man out from one of his highway stills, and it's so bad and so apparent. Like the exact same pose and everything. Just took from that photo and put it here, and it's just so bad.
Like the Getty image goblin on the side. It was so bad that for the thumbnail I had to find a fan poster which had Toby and Andrew in it. I couldn't put the real full thing as is. It would hurt the views. But actually I have the edited one. This is the one I actually did use on the thumbnail. I credited the artist in the description.
But Samir with one good point, that the one finally good thing we look forward to is that for the first time he's not going to be facing a villain that has something to do with Tony Stark. Because Vulture, he had a problem with Tony Stark because Tony took away his like alien tech or whatever, or he took away his construction business or whatever. I don't know what happened. It's just bad, obviously. And then we have Far From Home, which is garbage. We know how that was, Mysterio and Tony Stark and Barf and whatever. So finally, one good thing is that he's going to get a real villain, an actual villain, and not, something to do with Tony Stark.
But ironically, they're not even his villains. They're the villains of the other Spider-Man that the other movies already built a movie in to flesh them out. Like when Doc Ock shows up, we have a whole movie where we know what happened to him, what's going on,
you never know
how he died.
You never know what Tony did to these guys. It's a multiverse. Maybe they met a young Tony, like slapped one of them or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
you never know. It's not over till it's over. They could still make it very much about Iron Man. Still, even now.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. But overall, with the dark and the sadness of this movie, I can see that obviously what they're going to do after this, they're going to take Spider-Man to a new direction. They're going to go probably more Sony, more Venom, more Craven, more things that Sony's developing, less than the MCU. But this is going to be one of those movies where, like, hey, you guys see Toby, you see Andrew, put all of it together. And then whether it ends up being good or not, we're going to see. I mean, Umar always mentions every time we get very hyped this movie, he says, well, remember, it's the same director, same production. Like, nothing changed from the last two movies. Just Toby Andrew does, it doesn't mean it's going to be good or not. But let's see. I heard Sam Raimi was very involved with like consulting on any of his characters. So anytime Doc Ock, or eventually if Toby, I'm saying if, but when Tobey Maguire shows up, he's going to be involved. Interestingly enough, Kristen Dunst, who played MJ, did say that she is not in the movie, but I think other insiders had confirmed that she's actually not in this one. Like she was just kind of that's the truth. But we will see where it goes from there. So let's switch over from the Marvel universe, because we're jumping universes today, and we're jumping into Star Wars, and Disney Plus Day with all the major announcements. So we'll just cover that briefly, and then we can probably head out after that. So, all right. So Disney Plus Day, obviously, there's a lot of things announced. We're going to talk about Moon Knight in a second. I'll give Samir that question, but the thing that a lot of people were excited for, which didn't happen, was that the Obi-Wan potential trailer or teaser for the show that's coming out next year. But instead, we got a little featurette which showed Ewan McGregor and a couple of the producers and director talking about what Obi-Wan's going to go through, and obviously the main concept art that was dropped, and did not drop in HD, unfortunately, because it was exclusive to Disney Plus app. But here's a blurry version of it. This is Obi-Wan rematching against Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader on Mustafar, potentially at the end of that series. So we talked about this before, like how this is our thing for sure. Those who grew up with Star Wars, episode 3 was everything to us. So this is the rematched episode 3, and we're all 20 years older now. So, and kind of Obi-Wan is as well in many ways. So Zion, like, when this series was first announced, I know we were all excited, but we thought it's going to be a pretty tame show. Like maybe like Mandalorian, there'll be like him following him on desert adventures. At most, maybe you'll see Maul again. Maybe you'll fight an Inquisitor. But we didn't think he's going to have a full rematch with Anakin, with Vader. So does this make you exponentially more excited? Because personally, this makes me more excited than anything Star Wars in like the last 10 years.
I 100% agree. Like, I know, like we were always had a general level of excitement with Kenobi series, obviously just having him back. He's one of the best characters. I know for some of you guys, he's your favorite character of all time in Star Wars. So just having him back with the original theories that, oh yeah, will be Maul again, Inquisitor, will he just be roaming around like a nomad, like in different planets and doing like helping different people, stuff like that. But the fact that, they're bringing Hayden Christensen back, their Darth Vader is going to be a big presence, a big factor in this series. it just, like you said, I've been excited for Star Wars for as long as I can remember, honestly, way more than the sequel trilogy and any of those things, because again, like you said, these are the characters that we grew up with. This was our era of Star Wars, and now that 15, almost 20 years later, they're bringing it all back together, and they're doing future continuity with these characters. Just going to be extremely amazing to see, and I know I have no fear that they're going to handle it the wrong way. I think they're going to do it just right, just perfect. I know a lot of times with the sequel trilogy, people are like, oh yeah, they messed up the characters, they messed up this was or that was, but I think that with Kenobi, they're going to handle it right, and with Hayden, everybody back, it's going to be one of the best things to come out of Star Wars of all time.
It's obviously, I hope it meets those expectations, because expectations are high, but now you have to meet those goals. We haven't been that big on canon, like, oh, this is not canon, this is not canon, but this is definitely bending the canon to have this rematch happen, because and I'm gonna ask this questions for Umar then, because we see them in episode 4, they fight, and Vader says, when I left you, I was a learner, now I'm the master. And it was kind of the indication, was kind of like, hey, the last time we met was back then when you cut my legs off. But now we're getting a new canon fight between these two, between Obi-Wan's death and Anakin's technical death. So do you think this is bad for the Star Wars purists, or who cares? Let's just have fun with this.
I actually think it wouldn't change much, because Obi-Wan can still actually be the master when they meet now. Obi-Wan, yeah, they fought in their prime.
You think he's gonna win this one? Because that's probably the next question I was gonna ask.
I think what will happen is that he'll be so wild that Anakin will Darth Vader will just have to retreat. He won't lose, technically, he won't get his one hand and two legs cut off again, but I just think that Obi-Wan, I think actually we might get a more dangerous Obi-Wan now, because he's gonna be there's no Jedi Temple, there's nothing to really stick to. I think he's gonna probably learn how to, he's gonna be more just rogue, and so he might be a bit more just a bit more wild, in terms of the way he's gonna go at his student. I know that you had a couple points that you wanted to mention, but before you get there, I did want to say that just like anything with these types of bringing everyone back, there's one thing I hope that they're doing, which is that if these guys are gonna fight, hopefully they actually bring back the same stunt crew, or the same people, same choreographers or whatever that did the way they would fight in the prequels. I hope they bring those people back, because in all honesty, the Kylo Ren stuff and the Rey stuff, pretty much any other fight in general after that time hasn't really lived up to par. And I know story wise you can make the argument that, oh well, these were two people that were fighting at their peak, but Mace Windu also fought Palpatine in that movie, and they weren't really they're kind of old, so and they were still fighting. Their fight was still better than anybody else's fight ever. So I hope they bring back those people, or go back to that style of fighting, even though it'll be a bit harder with Vader can't really move the same way. But
yeah, they did show Ewan McGregor training in that featurette, and he was doing a lot of the moves that he was doing in the original. But of course, I agree with you. The prequels had very different fights, and every fight in the prequels, you could look at Qui-Gon versus Maul, then you could look at even Anakin versus Dooku in Episode 2, Yoda versus Dooku. So every fight was just good across the board. That's the highlight of the prequel trilogy. The fights, they were always good.
It was so good that me and Samir would mimic that crap on sofas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we put up. Also you and Zion used to fight. We used to have that clip.
So I have a video. I have the video of me and Zion fighting. I don't think me and Samir have. Me and Samir were wild.
You guys fought for real because there's no cameras involved. So you guys basically kill each other. It's different life back then. It was half WWE and then half Star Wars at the same time. You're wrestling and fighting with swords.
That's $1 billion idea right there. But
and listen, I kid you not, for the audience, Umar at his house had maybe 50 lightsabers, and they're all broken, all bent wrong, so much overuse. None of them were in good condition. But it was always fun because it was 100 lightsabers just everywhere. But yeah, good times. Samir, yeah, of course you did train him. Samir's kind of like Anakin to your Obi-Wan. So Samir, now that I said that, who?
Except he cut my legs off.
Kind of, pretty much. Samir, if you had to pick a winner of this rematch, who would you think is going to win?
I'm gonna have to go with Darth Vader. Has to win. I think the room for this fight to even fit in was when Darth Vader says, "Oh, when I left you, I was the learner." I think the Episode 3 fight was, even though Anakin was leaving the light side, it was more like Obi-Wan left him at the end to burn. I think maybe this fight, Vader will come out on top a little bit, and then, or they'll both be injured, but it'll be that Vader mostly won the fight. Then he leaves, and then it built up to their last meeting.
Remember the main.
That's actually kind of sick with
that is good, yeah. The main thing, Umar, move to Dallas, man. But I don't know. I can't be the first one to begin what that means. But I was gonna say there's three things that need to be revealed in the show. Number one, Obi-Wan does not know that Anakin Skywalker is alive. From his perception, he's dead. Number two, he doesn't know that he's made of metal because he says he's more machine than man. So I think they have to fight, and he has to like either cut off one arm or one leg or something. And I thought it'd be sick. Like, remember the beginning of Rogue One? The first scene is Vader at Mustafar, and he's like in the tank, healed up, and he's like pissed off. He's like ruined. And I wonder if like, that's after the fight. Imagine they link it that close. That's like right after the fight with Obi-Wan. He's like messed up, and he has to like go into the chamber, the back to tank, to like come back and rejuvenate. But I don't know how they're gonna do it. Or but I think Obi-Wan, I'm with Umar. I think Obi-Wan's gonna win that fight. Even if it's like a very close call, I think he's gonna win. Just so to make Vader retreat, or maybe he'll cut off one leg, one arm, something to show so Obi-Wan knows, oh, this guy is like not even human anymore. He's like straight up a machine monster. Because he has to lose his faith in him, because the whole arc of Luke Skywalker is everybody believed that Anakin was dead, and only Luke thought there's some good in him, because Yoda said no more good in Anakin, kill him. Obi-Wan said there even is no Anakin anymore, it's only Vader, kill him. And only Luke was like, I'm not going to kill my father. So that translation has to stick, which means at the end of the show, Obi-Wan has to lose faith that Anakin can come back at all. So that's the arc the show has to go on. So final things, Jan, I mean, who's going to win the fight? The other thing I'm going to ask you.
I think I agree with you and Umar. I think logistically, Obi-Wan has to win, because if Darth wins, like, he's going to finish the job. But if Obi-Wan wins, he can hesitate maybe for a second and give Vader a moment to escape, like a chance, like for the stormtroopers to start running in and for him to come retreat. So I think just logistically, Obi-Wan's going to win. And like you said, he's going to have the realization that, if he like cuts off a leg or maybe an arm or something, that, this guy, he's beyond penance or whatever, recompense or whatever. So like, there's no turning back for him. Like, Vader's too far gone, and then they both go their separate ways and whatever. So I think definitely Obi-Wan. And did you have a point also about like Luke talking to Vader?
Yeah, that was the other point, that Luke told Vader in the 6th movie. He said that like, I know there's some good in you, and then Vader looks at him and says, Obi-Wan once believed as you do, which never actually happened in Revenge of the Sith, because the second Obi-Wan saw him killing kids in the security footage, Yoda told him, "Yo, go get his ass." So he just went to kill him. Like, that was the point. In fact, he cut off his legs and left him to die. So the Obi-Wan listened to his master. He listened to Yoda and said, "All right, you want me to kill him? I'll kill him. I'm not gonna like it, but I'll do it." So that doesn't align with what Vader tells Luke, that, oh yeah, Obi-Wan believed that there was good in me. So that has to happen. So I think maybe in somewhere along this movie, he will talk to Anakin one more time and be like, "Yo, come on." Come on. That's it. He's gonna be like, "Come on, let's build a giant temple again. What do you think?" So even though like it doesn't make sense, but maybe they'll do it. Obi-Wan doesn't feel like he's a very forgiving guy. I think he's kind of harsh. Like, he's kind of like a guy. Like, he's forgiving, but he's like, you know what? This guy killed some kids.
You did what you did. Type.
He's very like to the books. Like, he's very pure Jedi. He follows the order to a T. I know, like Umar said that, maybe he can go a little more rogue now that obviously the order doesn't exist and Yoda's gone, wherever. And so like he's obviously like losing it a little bit. But I think still he's like very like to the books. Like, he follows the order and like what it should be. Like, there is no attachment. Like, Anakin was like a brother, maybe even like a pseudo son, but like if he has to kill him, he has to kill him. Like, that's the job. That's what comes with being a Jedi.
I think it would be cool to see him like actually flip, in the sense of like understand that, like, yes, like a part of his student going rogue and going the way he went is like the fact that the Jedi's kind of are the same as like the other side that they're fighting. Like it would be kind of cool for him to come to that realization as well. Like that would be a good development for his character, because up till this point, I agree that he's been like this, kind of just sticking to whatever he's been told. But things have gone wrong, so it would be kind of cool to see him kind of be like, all right, like this stuff is kind of weird.
Obviously, they are pumping this last point. They're pumping the budget of this show a lot. It's going to be a higher budget than Mandalorian, higher budget than Boba Fett. So they're doing a lot with it now. If I was them, I would go all out. There are a lot of rumors. These aren't credible rumors, but there are rumors that Padme could show up, Mace Windu could show up, Qui-Gon could show up, and Yoda could show up. These 4 names are all mentioned with this show in one way or another. Qui-Gon, we know, Force Ghost training. That's what Yoda told him to do at the end of the movie. So if you bring Liam Neeson for a couple of cameos where he's Force training with him to learn how to like survive after death, that's obviously should be part of the show. At least one episode should be about how to come back as a ghost. Mace Windu, I think that's the least credible rumor, because if he does meet Mace, then what? Him and Mace rematch together against like 2-on-1, they would literally win. If Mace and Obi-Wan took on Vader, it's an easy win. So I don't think he's gonna show up. Padme, I think that is possible. Can they afford Natalie Portman for this show? Maybe for a cameo where maybe Anakin's having a dream, or he's like being guilty about what happened to his wife. Yeah.
If you want to make Vader look like insane, if Windu's still alive, just have them both fight and have Anakin lay him out. Sorry,
honestly,
Anakin. I keep calling him Anakin.
Yeah,
have Vader.
That'd be great.
This is how an episode would go. It would be like Obi-Wan finds Windu, and he's like maybe like kind of crippled, or like obviously he fell from a million stories down, so it's like maybe he can't move his right, or maybe he's like in like some sort of wheelchair or something. He's like, yeah, I'm done. Like he's obviously very cynical and sick of everything. And then Obi-Wan goes to see Anakin. They fight, and then Windu steps in. Like as a savior, and like as Windu and Darth are fighting, he gives a moment for Obi-Wan to escape, and then obviously Anakin then finished the job, and Windu obviously sacrificed himself to save Obi-Wan, and then that's the end of Windu. You could do something like that.
Or they could just set him up for his own spin-off Disney Plus series to make more money. Anything's possible.
But he has to disappear somehow. Something has to happen to him where that's some reason why he never comes back.
I want him to be dead set on just killing the Emperor. Like not even Anakin. Like he just wants to go after the Emperor somehow. Like that'd be kind of sick to me. But I don't know, like maybe some like rogue series where 6 episodes where he's trying to go after the Emperor and then he dies in the end. Like, or maybe the Emperor fights him again. That rematch. You're muted.
I actually think Anakin killing him in the third one, and then Vader killing him again. That's kind of the wave. Like that's the way he died twice to the same person.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny, but they deserve a conversation. I think that because it happened so quick, I think that they had a face-to-face. Again, the video game did it really well, but they had a face-to-face where they just talk to each other and be like, "Yo, what did you do?" And remember, from the beginning, Mace was always against it. He was against them bringing him. He didn't believe in the Chosen One prophecy. He was always against the idea of like Anakin as someone special. It was all Qui-Gon's fault they even brought him in the first place.
He knew what's what, bro.
Yeah, well, he knew. Yeah, he was the only smart one in the group. But yeah, that's also I think the Emperor will show up in this show. He has to. So you need to have a scene with the Emperor like kind of torturing Vader a little more, like mentally, like just messing with him. I want to see more dialogue between Emperor and Vader, personally. But hey, that's just me.
I wonder if they're also going to throw some kind of reason. I wonder if they're going to throw some kind of reason why Emperor doesn't use the lightsabers anymore either.
Yeah, a quick line where he says like, this is child's play for me. Like, forget it. But like, I only need my Force hands. But all right, more like I do the Force hands thing. But
literally never right. Anything but Superman.
Samir, quickly, like, give me 2 minutes, only 1 minute on it. Like, are you excited for this Moon Knight series?
Of course.
Of course.
Looks pretty dark. It looks pretty dark so far. I think from the trailers they're doing his dissociative disorder properly. I think if they dive into that, it'll be really interesting, in the Egyptian aspect of his powers. So far the suit looks pretty good. We only saw the gloves really like close up and the cape. The gloves look kind of weird, but when he's running on the building, I think it looks fine. So when we get the full suit reveal, I think it'll look nice. It's giving
this
more,
scene
like,
was very the Batman.
Marvel vibes. Yeah,
it did. Yeah,
like
it reminded me of just
Marvel
as
vibes,
Daredevil.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, and then this scene specifically reminded me of Daredevil, not Daredevil, the Batman, where he's just punching the guy's head in like again and again. I was like, oh, this is similar. But yeah, this looks like to be one of Marvel's darkest shows, very much in the vein of Daredevil season 1. And Oscar Isaac, he's great. So like he just works as a character. I think that's all to say about that. Okay, so yeah, I don't have any funny thing, but I have this image of Aaron from Attack on Titan. I mean, Smear, this looks kind of like you to me, before the haircut. So
This looks nothing like me.
So what do you think, Samir? Is this gonna be the goated show, like when it comes out, when it's all said and done?
I mean, I've read the ending.
No.
That's what I'm going to tell you.
No, don't tell me.
I think it'll be pretty good. I think as long as the animation is good. The animation looks pretty bad right now. I'm not gonna lie. It's been looking bad season 4. If you go rewatch season 1 to 3, it's really good. But this is all kind of bad CGI version of the show, and it's not looking that good. Not looking as good as it.
Well, in a lot of like the stills between like the Blu-ray version of the show, they fixed a lot of the issues. Like they made it look better compared to like the TV version of season 4.
Yeah, you're right. But we're gonna watch it when it comes out, so it's gonna look bad when we watch it.
Exactly.
No, but maybe they're gonna follow some of the cues of like, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to look. Like in design, like a lot of times like the coloring and stuff like that, it look better.
I'm hoping by taking a break that's why like they can like make it look clean rather than a continuous production cycle. I had one more topic, and I don't know if you have anything like we have significant to say about it, because it's kind of like touching on grounds we've already walked many times. But Ridley Scott, obviously very popular director, did say the superhero scripts aren't any effing good, and they're superhero movies. Why don't the superhero movies have better stories? So he's just like ripping these movies to shreds. And I have no overall like question to ask you guys, but I just want to say that anytime one of these like esteemed directors like Denis Villeneuve, or Ridley Scott or Martin Scorsese, obviously we did a whole like segment about him last year. Anytime they come out and say the superhero movies are shit, everyone kind of like loses their mind and acts like the worst thing has been said. But like from their vantage point, they kind of are. Like if you think about it. So like of course like it's just like you talk to a 5-star chef and you tell him, what do you think about McDonald's? He's gonna say it's bad, right? But if you talk to someone who eats McDonald's every single day, they're gonna say it's very good. Okay, so that's literally what.
Yeah, and intrinsically, superhero movies, the stories, they're a little more basic, more graspable by everybody. And you have directors like these who obviously want to do more intricate storytelling and things that might not be the taste of some people, but will be others. And superheroes movies and shows, they like follow a base model where we got to appeal to every single person. So then you can't really go too far in any one direction, which makes it seem more basic. So from that angle, you get why a director like this or Martin Scorsese, somebody like that will be thinking of superhero movies that, amusement park ride or fast food or whatever.
I will say that we talk about all the time. We talked in our which super movies are cinema, which I really recommend you watch that. One of our better videos, in my opinion, such as a podcast. But really, if you think about it, there's been 100, 200 superhero movies, right? Since the beginning. Maybe 100, right? 100 superhero movies. Of those 100, really 5 are cinema? 6? So, like, if you really think about it, right? If you think about it, how many superhero movies are actually cinema? Very, very few. And because of that, the point makes sense. Like if more were like made with a cinematic mind state of like Joker, Logan,
Imagine
Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight.
You know how Star Wars is similar
BVS.
to. You know how Star Wars.
I had to like. I was okay. What am I gonna say? Zack Snyder movie like a BVS. So go ahead.
Well, you know how Star Wars is kind of similar to, or at least it's like like people say like, oh, it was kind of like they took Dune's storyline and kind of like ran with it or whatever. Like imagine if the same people that made Dune made Star Wars 3, like it would probably be a million times better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the same. It's the same. Even like things that are similar. It's just like, I guess like when they focus so much on the craft, like the craftsmanship of what they're doing, and it's not so much about pleasing. Like, oh, let's make $1 billion. Then those movies are gonna be better. That's just kind of like how it goes.
Yeah, and that's 100% right. And at a point, but it's completely lost in the dark. But overall, that's pretty much it. But yeah, for the cinema movies, we had the comments. Yeah, Into Spider-Verse, I think that is cinema, from an animation standpoint. Batman Begins, I think that's cinema also. Spider-Man 2, yeah. I think Man of Steel is. BVS is. Sorry, Samir. The Raimi trilogy. I'll take even Spider-Man 3. I know it's controversial. I think that's cinema. I think from the MCU, I don't know. Don't see anything that's directly cinema. But Joker is cinema. Logan.
There's like 6 cinema like superhero films, then name like 10.
You know what? 10 out of 100 is still 1/10, right? It's still a very small sample size of superhero movies because most of them are just like kind of like.
I forgot the Joker, by the way. I don't think he said the Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
Space Jam A1 cinema. I mean, thank you, Umar. Right? You agree with that?
Shout out to Braun. That's all I'm gonna say.
Braun. Yeah. Do I have anything funny? I will look through my funny folders.
Nah, you don't have anything. I guess it's time to wrap up.
No, I have to look for it one time quickly.
Why? Because it's done.
Yeah, that's why. Otherwise, I would have wrapped it up. I have nothing. Okay, it's an L. Because we did the burger one, right? We did this?
Yeah, we did it a while ago.
Yeah, we did all these. All right. This was uneventful. All right. Okay, so what was the main topic? Okay, so what do you? Yeah, exactly. You know what? Now that you said it, I'm gonna make you end it. But I was gonna say, what do you guys think about the significance of Doctor Strange reshoots? Do you think Henry Cavill can return as Superman? What do you think about the Spider-Man No Way Home leaks? Let us know all that stuff in the comments.
And was Disney Plus Day a failure?
We should have done that topic, but it's too late now. But yeah, Disney Plus Day, was that a failure or not? Let us know all that in the comments below. And now, Umar, since you tried to imitate me, why don't you actually do the sign off? And then
I'll. From myself, from Shiraz, from Jian and Samir, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
You should have said catch you on the flippity flop, but it's okay. You got it wrong. All right. 2-time it then.